Okay, let's unpack this. Forget the gilded towers of traditional finance for a moment. Imagine a financial revolution, not just on Wall Street, but brewing in the digital pockets of millions across continents, fueled by an intense, high-stakes global competition. What if the future of money is being forged not in established financial hubs, but in surprising corners of the world, driven by, a new breed of superstar leaders? Today, we're taking a deep dive into the electrifying world of global crypto companies. We're dissecting their strategies, their triumphs, their inevitable missteps, and the sheer unyielding resilience that defines this race for dominance. We'll explore how companies like Luno and Binance, originally squaring off in Africa, aren't just local champions. They're a microcosm of a much larger global battle. Our mission today is to cut through the noise, extracting the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from these global crypto frontiers, giving you a shortcut to understanding the emerging trends, the geopolitical opportunities, and the winning strategies that define this new financial landscape. We're here to help you spot those aha
moments and equip you with insights for your own strategic thinking. So let's kick things off in Africa, a continent that's become a vibrant, often volatile crucible for crypto innovation. We're seeing surging adoption across Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. Millions are diving into digital assets, using them for everything from daily banking and cross-border remittances to outright speculation. It's really diverse. And in this incredibly dynamic environment, two names with very different origins have really come to dominate the conversation: Luno and Binance. Luno, founded in South Africa back in 2013, really appeals to the mainstream. It's built on a super simple user interface, a low entry point, and some fantastic educational tools.
Right. That approach really worked for them.
Yeah, it helped it grow to over 10 million users across 43 countries. Pretty significant reach.
Definitely.
Then you have Binance, which burst onto the scene a bit later, 2017, instantly bringing global scale, much deeper liquidity, a wider range of trading pairs.
And those more advanced services, like margin trading.
Which lets users amplify potential gains, right?
Exactly. And yield opportunities, too, where you can earn passive income on your holdings. Big draw for some.
So it's a classic local champion versus global behemoth showdown playing out in real time.
It really is. And what's truly fascinating here is how quickly these two, despite their different origins and scales, ran into similar yet distinct challenges. For Luno, a common critique revolves around its instant buy fees. They can hit 2%, which isn't insignificant.
Right. That sounds quite high for an instant buy.
It can be, but a Luno executive offered a different perspective, emphasizing true on instant buys, but recurring buys, education, trust that builds long-term user loyalty.
So it's a strategic choice.
Precisely. It's not just about the pricing. It highlights Luno's strategic focus on building a stable, deeply trusting user base. They're prioritizing retention and education over purely transactional volume. It's, a long game.
Makes sense. Build the foundation.
Exactly. Binance, on the other hand, faces constant recurring pressure from regulators across multiple jurisdictions.
Yeah, you hear about that all the time.
We're talking Nigeria, the UK, the EU, the US. It's been a constant battle.
Didn't Nigeria actually declare their activities illegal at one point?
They did. In a significant move, Nigeria declared Binance's activities illegal back in June 2023. But their response demonstrates remarkable resilience and a pivotal strategic shift. A Binance representative made it clear: regulators challenged us, but our CEO, Richard Teng, is driving a compliance-first culture.
Richard Teng, he has a strong regulatory background, doesn't he?
He does, a very strong one. And they're signaling to the world they are here for the long haul. And this means prioritizing regulatory compliance above almost all else now. It's a major pivot.
That's a powerful distinction, highlighting different paths to success. But when you look at these local skirmishes between Luno and Binance in Africa, how truly interconnected are they with the broader global crypto scene? Are we seeing these battles ripple across continents, or are they more unique to their local contexts?
Oh, it's absolutely interconnected. What's happening in Africa isn't isolated at all. It's really a microcosm of crypto's global dance. If we connect this to the bigger picture, consider the United States, for example. It's undergone a really significant shift in its regulatory landscape, moving from a period of, aggressive enforcement.
Yeah, the crackdown phase.
Right, to a much more measured, almost cautious embrace now. We saw a notable shift during the Trump era, including the SEC dropping cases against Binance.
Which was huge news at the time.
And the Department of Justice even disbanding its crypto enforcement unit. This wasn't just a policy tweak. It indicated a fundamental reevaluation.
So how have key players like Coinbase reacted to this shift? Are they seeing this as an opportunity? What are their moves telling us?
They're certainly seeing opportunity, and their actions speak volumes. Coinbase, for instance, acquired a company called Liquify specifically to build token launchpads.
Token launchpads, basically platforms to help new crypto projects launch their tokens and raise capital.
Exactly. This acquisition is a clear bet on future regulatory clarity. They believe the U.S. market will mature and embrace digital assets more fully.
It's a proactive play, showing confidence.
Definitely, and that bet seems to be paying off. We've seen concrete evidence of mainstream adoption. Bitcoin ETFs, for example, attracted a massive $14 billion in inflows as of mid-2025. That's serious money.
$14 billion, wow.
Yeah. A business reporter summed it up perfectly. Coinbase's payout surge signals Wall Street taking crypto seriously. It demonstrates that strategic resilience and foresight are now delivering tangible results, especially in the institutional world.
Okay, moving across the Atlantic then.
Yeah.
How exactly is Europe navigating this? It feels like a real tightrope walk between fostering innovation and ensuring stability.
Yeah.
They want to be a leader, but they also seem incredibly cautious.
It is a tightrope, absolutely, and they've attempted to address it head-on with MiCA.
MiCA, Markets and Crypto Assets. That's been active since late 2024.
That's right, December 2024. It's a robust, continent-wide crypto licensing framework, trying to bring some order. However, there's a critical nuance here. Some warn that Europe's generally risk-averse culture might actually limit innovation.
You mean stifle the very growth they aim to encourage?
Potentially, yeah. It raises an important question. Can you regulate a nascent, rapidly evolving industry without inadvertently choking off its potential? It's tricky.
But isn't a certain level of caution necessary given the, Wild West nature crypto started with? Maybe regulating heavily before widespread adoption is the safer bet, even if it slows things down.
That's the argument for it, for sure.
And we are seeing companies get licenses already, right? Gemini, OKX, Crypto.com in Malta, Coinbase expected in Luxembourg.
Absolutely. There's a strong argument for regulatory clarity, and those licenses show the framework is being actively adopted. People want those credentials. However, an EU fintech analyst offered a critical perspective, stating, Europe aims to build trust, but the danger is over-regulating before the market matures.
So the balance is key. Trust versus not killing the dynamism.
Exactly. The core insight here is that while trust is crucial for mass adoption, an overly prescriptive approach too early could potentially kill off that experimental energy that defines this space. It's a very delicate balance.
Okay, let's shift over to Asia. The landscape there seems incredibly dynamic. Exchanges are aggressively pursuing regulatory legitimacy. It feels like a high-stakes race. What's driving this urgency? Is it just market share?
It's a fascinating race for credibility and market access. Look at OKX, for instance. They've expanded aggressively, earning both MiCA and UAE licenses. They even pulled off a U.S. relaunch in April 2025.
Wow, so they're really pushing on all fronts globally.
Totally. It highlights the truly global ambition and just how vital regulatory acceptance has become. But it's not just about private companies. We're also seeing a significant geopolitical development. China and India are piloting central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, in nearly 50 countries.
50 countries, that's huge.
It is. This shows a clear shift towards state-backed digital finance. It's a very different model from decentralized crypto, and it represents a massive global power play.
Interesting contrast.
Yeah.
But it's not all smooth sailing for the private exchanges, is it? There are cautionary tales. KuCoin, for example, backed off its U.S. operations after facing significant legal penalties in early 2025. What's the lesson there for aspirant strategists?
It just underscores the very real risks of non-compliance. KuCoin's experience is a stark reminder that you simply cannot ignore the rules no matter how global your ambitions.
But compliance isn't just a box to tick. It's fundamental.
It's a strategic necessity. It's basically the gatekeeper to the world's largest markets now. You have to get it right. And this brings us to some of the deeper strategic currents shaping the entire industry. One of the highest stakes rivalries we're seeing is the stablecoin showdown between Tether and Circle.
Ah, yes. USDT versus USDC.
Exactly. And this is personified by their leaders, Giancarlo Devasini and Jeremy Allaire. It's not just a fight over market share. It's really about stablecoin dominance and, critically, compliance.
How so?
Well, a finance expert we heard from emphasized that USDC is positioned as the compliant alternative to Tether driving trust in institutional corridors.
So Circle is betting on compliance being the key differentiator.
Precisely. This isn't just a battle for market share. It's a strategic recognition that in crypto's maturing landscape, institutional trust, driven by rigorous regulatory compliance, is becoming the ultimate differentiator.
It signaled a fundamental shift, moving beyond just the tech innovation.
Right, to regulatory robustness being just as important, if not more so, for that institutional adoption.
That's a crucial insight: compliance as a competitive advantage. And this leads right into another major trend, what we're calling institutional on-ramps. It feels like crypto is actively bending its shape for mainstream finance. Is the industry truly adapting, or is this just temporary?
I think it's a genuine, profound adaptation. We've seen Coinbase's ETF success, which is huge, and even Binance US pausing its token suspension. That was a direct response to regulatory concerns in the US.
Right, adjusting to the local rules.
Exactly. These moves demonstrate the industry's willingness to make necessary changes for broader, more traditional adoption. It's about meeting institutional demands where they are, rather than expecting institutions to just jump into crypto on its own terms.
So adapting to survive and thrive.
Definitely. And what's fascinating here is the emergence of what we call the regulatory hybrid model.
A hybrid model, what does that entail?
It seems to be a key winning strategy for global exchanges. It involves managing dual structures. So you have compliant, licensed arms specifically for the regulated markets like the US or Europe.
Okay, the clean, regulated part.
Right. And alongside that, they maintain offshore units for broader products and more agile offerings where regulations might be different or less defined.
So catering to different markets differently, but under one umbrella.
Essentially, yes. It allows them to navigate complex global regulations while still innovating and serving diverse user needs across the globe. Binance itself openly stated, "We run region-specific platforms while centralizing risk controls globally."
Centralizing the risk control is key there, I imagine.
Crucial. This isn't just a clever workaround, it's arguably the most viable, long-term strategic blueprint for any global financial entity operating today. It shows how agility and compliance can, paradoxically, coexist to capture market share in this really fragmented regulatory landscape.
That offers a direct strategic takeaway for you, the listener, about how to navigate these incredibly complex, multi-jurisdictional markets. So wrapping this all up, what does this all mean for you as someone eager to understand the future of business and finance? This global dance teaches us some core lessons: the absolute necessity of trust, the rapidly evolving landscape of regulation, and of course that relentless drive for innovation.
Absolutely. Those three pillars seem critical.
And for companies like Luno back in Africa, the lesson seems clear. They have incredible credibility. That local trust is strong. But to rival Binance's global reach, they must broaden their offerings and invest significantly in compliance to compete on that global scale. It's a big step up.
It's a huge challenge. They need to scale without losing that trust.
And for Binance, the constant imperative is to demonstrate their compliance credentials globally. They have to keep proving it.
And avoid those local missteps that have plagued their operations elsewhere. Every market matters.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? Global ambition versus local responsibility.
It truly is. And this raises an important question. Why is Africa so central to this whole story? Why did we start there? Its unique context, those high remittance flows, the large informal economies, a smartphone-first consumer base, it gives crypto a kind of Wild West opportunity that's unique.
So it's not just about speculation there like in some other markets.
Much less so, relatively speaking. It's often about practical utility. We heard from a Nigerian fintech founder who put it perfectly. "I use crypto for business remittances. Crypto is more than speculation here. It's utility."
Wow, that really grounds it. Real-world problem solving.
Exactly. It's almost like watching a live laboratory of finance unfolding where the practical needs of people are driving innovation faster than regulators can often keep up. You could almost call that heroism, solving real problems on the ground with this tech.
That's a great way to put it. So this global standoff we've been talking about, it's really a microcosm of bigger questions. Local trust versus global scale. Compliance versus innovation. Stable utility versus speculative excess.
These are the tensions defining the industry right now.
And the platforms that master the integration of regulation, user trust, and that crucial local context. They'll likely be the winners over the next decade. What fascinating insight will you take from this deep dive to inform your own strategic thinking in this rapidly evolving world? Now, we do want to remind you that our deep dive today, while thoroughly researched, is based on publicly available news, statements, and records.
That's right. The world of global finance is vast and complex.
And we simply cannot know all the intricate details behind every single decision made by these companies. We encourage you to continue exploring the fascinating intersections of technology, finance, and geopolitics.
You've been listening to Empire and Legacy. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform, and share this episode with fellow business leaders. Main episodes are released each Monday. Our hosts delve deeper into the CEOs at the helm on Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we explore the global perspectives, the standout businesses and CEOs, emerging trends, and geopolitical developments, presenting both risk and opportunity. We're back each week, sharing more stories about the exciting business rivalries shaping the future of business across Africa. Empire and Legacy is essential listening for business professionals and leaders. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when new episodes are released. Until next time.